Okay, so today break down perspective from new movie. So let's here's some screenshots. So like I did with other animation and movies, you can break down compositions and see how perspective works in this composition, which is like maybe kind of like a key idea in this channel, because like I'm kind of along all these sophisticated techniques, all these like um, approaches, how to draw in perspective, rules, perspective grids and stuff. Most beneficial and convenient actually practice, it's break down some like movies, animation, illustration, whatever like a visual artwork you personally like you recognize as a quality you want to achieve, right? Some kind of like a industry standard quality, right? So you see like, okay, this is visual language they speak in professional work, right? So reverse engineer this, break it down, look how they build it. So in my channel you learn principles, and then you need to see how different artists or visual artists, let's say, right, applying these principles in their work. And this approach is like super fast improvement for you, is like super boost, because it's exact kind of like this secret maybe which you are looking for, this kind of gap between like learning perspective, reading books about perspective, and actually be able to draw like complex perspective in your work. So this is like a huge gap everybody have all the time. Everybody's like, well, how can I actually draw, right? Like, why is like no imagination, no visual memory, all this stuff? Because your imagination, your visual memory, it's not actually kind of like imagination and visual memory. It's your literacy, right? So it's like you're trying to write in a foreign language. You need to learn words, you need to learn grammar, and you need to like study like examples of how people speak, how people write. So you study these examples, you look like you're not just like study dry rules, but you study application of rules. You look how it works in the actual works. Works and works, kind of, funny sounds. So don't really like, don't neglect this advice, because I don't see people much kind of doing it, it's like I keep talking. It's some kind of thing, maybe you will really do this once you pay $1,000 for this advice. Like you go to my kind of mentorship, and I will tell you this stuff, or you go to some other guy's mentorship. And the best advice I can give you is to do this practice, literally, So let's see. So here we have this kind of like down shot, kind of like now in our time, you can definitely call it like a drone view, but not very high. Maybe let's draw it so we can, or okay, we'll draw on the paper, it's more fun. So here we speak immediately of this type of perspective where we have horizon line or eye level, right? So when it's like present in a frame, in your composition. This eye level in this type of frame, this eye level, camera level, or horizon line, always kind of related, like in the most cases, it's related to character in the frame. So it might be like main hero or just some secondary character, but it's always related to human. So we can say how much like how much higher or on which level of like human height, or this character height is, like on his eye level, is on his like neck level or waist level, knee level, maybe like ankle level. So we kind of always look in horizon line, camera height, according to character when we have this horizon line. No, and of course, like kind of rare cases is when there is no human in the frame. Yeah, of course, then we have some other objects to track camera height. Так. So let's see. It's like if you kind of in your head, you're trying to compose, right? When you break down, when you study from reference like this, when you break down composition and perspective, kind of always imagine like you actually drawing it yourself. It's like play like if you don't look actually at reference. Like right now you inventing your own picture on a paper, you know, because this paper can't see reference, it don't know, right? So for a paper you pretending it's your idea because it's here, is on your paper, and it's paper don't have eyes, right? So and you kind of like pretend like you just sit and you draw from your imagination. You tell yourself like, oh, I want to draw this scene when the camera behind character, like from higher than him, is kind of like, it's like here it's two human height. So this character and the camera about like 1, 2 of his height. Okay, so it means like this will be horizon line. Very high here, because when you speak with yourself like this, pretending like you are actually making it instead of just stealing, kind of, right? You practice this thinking process. This kind of like main it's like huge difference, you know. Instead of just like, you know, oh, picture, I will copy this picture and I will be a better artist, right? No, it's you like pretending like you make it yourself. Okay, so and this became, by doing this, it became your like emotionally or kind of like subconsciously, it's became true, because technically, practically, it's really your own work, you know. You just kind of like say, okay, I do A, B, C, kind of, and there somewhere it's like have small say like, yeah, actually it was a reference, you know. But your brain remember your sequence, what you did. Your brain remember your actions because it's your own actions in the physical reality, right, in physical world. And fact that it's been done with the help of ref, it's just some kind of tiny nuance. So it's important to kind of play this game, kind of pretend for yourself like you are developing picture from scratch. Okay, so and I'm talking kind of to myself, so like, hey, I just want to draw this scene, dude walking, so we have a high horizon line above him, so its mean camera is like two character height. Then I kind of like look on a reference, like, okay, so if I want to have this cool kind of like geometry, like triangular geometry of this pedestrian walk, right? I want this triangle, so here will be, then I need to have this z vanishing point to get this triangle. Then I say like, oh, actually this architecture also cool, and I can convert it. Later I can convert it in a cyberpunk, whatever I want. But first, yeah, let's steal kind of this composition. So it's like I breaking down for elements. So I have this kind of like pillars. This, I think it's like, how do they call it? Brutalism, probably. Right, so we have these pillars, and it's like angle here for this canopy, kind of. Hard to say exactly what this, but this kind of what we have, this geometry here. So vertical lines for pillars here, then these lines for this angle, and these lines for this angle. So this is like 2D abstract design, right? So here we have this, let's say here. Can I make it to vanishing point? So then let's say here will be this high. Так, can you hear my voice? Yeah, it seems okay. Так. So, and then I can use this technique to kind of find how it converges in perspective. Let's say like this. Let's say like this. So on the right. So let's say this turn to right, this pedestrian walk. So then you can also like play around. This is not on a reference here, but I can play around to practice, right? So what practice here will be? If I know this is this character height, right, between him and the horizon line. So if I have second character who is like same high as this main character, so I will have this ratio. Okay, I will have this 1-1 ratio. If I have like a far away character which is like little shorter than this character, then the ratio will be little different. Instead of have like 50%, it will be, I don't know, like depends on how shorter, maybe let's say like 40 and 60%. Okay, so if we don't want to make like kind of centimeter measurement, just kind of some general, so you just control, instead of same high before eye level, you make like little bigger distance. So it's here like this, kind of. Так, so let's say так. So here I have a vehicle. So here on the right side, some tree, but maybe I will make like put a vehicle here to right side, because I kind of like, I don't like to draw trees. I kind of like, I enjoy draw like abstraction of geometry, like artificial stuff, but draw abstraction of organic stuff. It's kind of a little boring to me. Don't know why. Так, so here, let's see. And maybe here some tree. Stuff like this. Somebody parking on the grass. Так. Так. Keep forgetting I actually need to practice left hand. It's kind of how tricky it is. It's like your brain keep avoiding something complicated. And with left hand I plan to draw left hand, and then suddenly I pretend like I forget about this. That's funny. Так, so anyway, so this one kind of like simple, but it's so many creative compositions you can make with this type of camera angle, with this type of, it's like 1 point perspective, literally, you know, simplest perspective. Yeah, maybe simpler than this, only isometry. Так, okay. Here anyway. Yeah, hello, soup. Yeah, I was talking about left hand before. I was like, I born left-handed, but and I was kind of like, I have period in the childhood when I was drawing with left hand. It's kind of, you know, was this period when kind of like, I don't know how to say, it's like before 9 year old I was drawing all the time, drawing comic books. I have like a lot of textbook like albums. I draw different comic books like Jurassic Park, Star Wars, Teenage Turtle Ninja and stuff. And then it's like when I went to school, I study right like everybody, you know, study right with right hand. I don't remember like teacher, like maybe teacher forced me to use right hand to write, but honestly, I don't remember this. Maybe I was just like kind of conformist, you know, like everybody use right hand, so it's just right way to write, you know, using your right hand. That's it. I didn't think about like what is left-handed or right-handed. Nobody explained me this stuff. So, but because I was studying writing with the right hand, somehow eventually I also switch to draw with the right hand. Maybe also teacher told me, actually, yeah, now I just think maybe in the school actually teacher tell me to use right hand because we have like art class in the school too. So probably I was forced, like it's very big like probability kind of I was forced to change for right hand. Because kind of like Soviet, post-Soviet education system, kind of like this. So, and then when I like start to draw and write with right hand, I start to abandon drawing at all because it start to feels like too like unbearable, kind of, and just you drawing and you never satisfied. It always feel like something wrong, like I lost totally joy of drawing about this period, like exactly when I start to use my right hand. And I remember this, I realized this only like when I was already like third grade in art college. So I was already like study in art college with my right hand, like all these essentials. And then I just like, wait a second. I never think about this, but this might be kind of very, it might be like very serious thing, about, because it's kind of like how your brain works. And only recently with I was like more talk about this, and AI kind of like give me some links to articles and like say, actually, there is some uh, proof for this idea. Idea is that like if you're born with a certain dominant hand, right? It's mean like you're hardwired for like more comfortable and like fluent work with with this hand. So it's not just kind of like one of one of many skills kind of you can use. I don't know. You can teach your to draw with a leg, or with your nose, but it's just will be harder than with your natural dominant hand. So and so this kind of idea say, so let's see here. It's definitely like more natural, more convenient, and less uh, kind of like a more economical process for your brain to deal with your natural hand. So, and I've been like training. So kind of like when I get this idea, so it might be better for me to switch back to my original dominant hand. It was like 2010, so, and I've been like many years, I've been practicing. So it's kind of interesting. So even if it's my dominant hand, after so many years like training with my other hand, it's huge difference, between them. So I really spend a lot of time to like teach my left hand to be able like draw on the same level with the right hand. And like in some way it really feels like more natural, more convenient for me to use left hand, but also in the same time it feels very exhausting, just because I spend like whole my life to work with other hand. So it's kind of very weird ambivalence, kind of. So I still don't have like final answer for this problem. It's still kind of like experiments. At current stage, like drawing straight lines, let's say. It's much easier with the right hand. Also, kind of like when I need to be very technical and analytical, is convenient to do with right hand, because it's not just, again, like it's not just like movements. It's like your brain work in a different way. And when I want to draw some kind of like people figures, you know, some organic or dynamic stuff, left hand much better. And is better not only because it's like draw better, but also because it feels absolutely different. It's like really like in this theory, like say like left hemisphere is analytical, right hemisphere is kind of intuitive, right? So when you use left hand, is your right kind of, it's connected with your right hemisphere. So me as a left-handed guy, I have like my kind of right hemisphere dominant, more like kind of, I don't know, more developed, or some kind of just like preferable hemisphere. Okay, so here what we have, like if in the previous, you see here we have eye level. Let me draw. Here was horizon line about character high. So camera, like character high above, and this Z vanishing point. Here we have horizon line about ankle high, like no, like actually not ankle, but between about between knee and kind of halfway to the knee. So, because again, you see, like just learn to listen. It's really like issues with some students. Like you tell them very important information with very simple words. Like I don't use any kind of like super complex terminology. Very simple words. So here say, this is how you develop your visual memory. This your visual memory, this your imagination. Okay? So because like in reality, you don't need imagination and visual memory. In reality, you need literacy. Kind of, you need this visual vocabulary. And what is visual vocabulary? It's kind of like your library of visual tropes, right? You have some desire, you have some idea you want to express visually. How will you do? You think you can invent or reinvent visual media, kind of like you say, like, okay, I will find my way. Okay, you can try, but so far I see everybody stuck with it, right? It's like you cannot just like, oh, somehow I just like take it from air and now I can do it my way. No, you everybody like kind of walking around for some tutorials, right? And I say, okay, your most important and beneficial tutorial practice kind of is just to look for kind of story of success. Look what already been done. Look examples of visual work and understand how they been kind of what grammar beneath this sentences, kind of visual sentence, visual chapter, kind of, let's say, depends on like how much complexity, right? So, and when you break it down, you create this knowledge Now you understand how they do it, and now you can do it too. Kind of. How isn't this is not obvious, right? It's just kind of like saying a line on the surface. But it might take years for you to understand. You know, it's like, it's also trope. It's a trope of finding answer, finding destination exactly where it always been, like right with you. You will spend years, dozens of years, decades. You'll be like last breaths, and it's like, no way. I just understand what I should do. But instead, I was just like pretending I learning by kind of watching these hundreds of hours tutorials, tell myself I'm studying. It's like, I'm learning. I'm a good boy. No. Best learning for you is just reverse engineer, okay? You don't even need teacher for this. But just if you're here, I also share with you how you can do it faster, right? How you can, like, I'm giving you like reverse engineering techniques. And this is not some kind of like, it's again, it's a secret because people like occupied with the stupid ideas. And when you tell them some good idea, they don't recognize it. So it's like, I don't hear what you're talking to me, you know? But if you tell them some stupid shit, they're like, wow, amazing, fantastic. Did you say I will be like Kim Jong-gi if I draw like without pencil? Wow, great idea. Like, let's do it. It's like, oh yeah, definitely I need to spend like a couple thousand US dollars to join art community, like online. And whatever, I don't know. No. All you need is send a couple $1,000 to Jen Bond. Watch all his videos, share all his videos, write comment for every of Jen Bond video, like very long, like long gratitude. Say thank you very much. You changed my life. Tell everyone, like your neighbors, people you can call to some like morning show and say like, do you know who Jen Bond is? And this will really help you to become real artist, you know, some kind of. Again, I forget left hand. Oh my God. So really, like, you know, it's kind of like ability to listen somehow is very rare. It's almost like a superpower, because most of people, you know what they do? It's like you tell them you want to cook onion soup, right? You need 1 onion, I don't know, like carrot, chicken, water, salt, cut, put in the water, boil and stuff, right? Say, yes sir, understood. After like 1 hour you come back and see is like he dropped watermelon in the soup, he put paper, sugar. It's like, what the hell, like why you did this? So I don't know, I think like it's I don't know, maybe kind of like it's similar. You tell me some stuff like this, like didn't you say watermelon? What, like when when I say watermelon? It's like, what the hell, like how did you listen, you know? It's like I didn't like tell you, like it's not like rocket science, just freaking onion and carrot. That's it. Why you kind of creating this? So it's weird, but it's kind of how people are, right? You tell them, no, it's not like even like I force people to do what I say. No, they asking you for advice. You giving them advice, they say, "Oh, thank you very much," and they do something totally different. Okay, and yeah, like I've been this way too. Been this way, and like I realized some kind of like noise in the head, you know, is being like very sloppy, kind of not organized, and just I don't know, stupid actually, right? And then when I realized, like, wait a second, all this time, like when people telling me something, I was like, instead of listening what they say, I was arguing with them in my head, like right away, I was like uh, speaking in front. So sometimes you like people doing this like in real life, like sometimes they really start to speaking instead of listening. Sometimes they're doing this in their mind. So you're telling them it's like, yeah, I already hear this in I read this in a Scott Robertson book, blah 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 blah. So you speak with him, but he's like already speak with himself instead of listen to you. And in the end, it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I understand. He was talking to me same stuff like Scott Robertson or some Cranes or something. Okay, why are you asking then if you think you have all our answers already? Anyway, just funny stuff. Yeah, so and here I kind of like I grow in complexity, right? So I start with very simple perspective, later will be like more extreme perspective angles. But this is also kind of fun, you know, is like because it's a visual vocabulary, right? As I say from beginning, you know, I can do only videos with some like only fisheye, only this kind of like extreme manga-like drawings. But in reality, it's not this kind of like extreme fisheye compositions. They're not so kind of like there's not so important. Like when you draw comic book or even manga, you will have this extreme fisheye very rarely. Because if your every frame is in fisheye, it will become boring very fast. It's like after like 5 page of every frame being in fisheye, you will don't see fisheye anymore. It will just look like normal picture. So you an artist, losing this um, tonality kind of, right? Like you cannot impress anymore. If you're trying to impress all the time with your super extreme perspective, you will lose, eventually you will lose ability to impress. Because after 10 pages, you can't make extreme drawing anymore, because your extreme drawing will look default. It will look just like all these previous extreme drawings. So it's important to learn this like forte piano kind of effect, right? Like it's like quiet, slow, like in perspective composition is like you use sometimes very simple, very quiet perspective without fisheye, and then boom, and then you make an accent with this extreme wide angles and for super crazy foreshortenings. Так. Like for me, I think example is a perfect example of this stuff. It's also early, like Ride the Lightning album of Metallica. Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets. So like compared to other heavy metal, for me at least, I'm not musicians, but for me it's always was like, it's two most common type of heavy metal. Like one is they just like grind and like all the times, like crazy and wild. Other one is like very formulaic. They have this boom 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 and some guitar solo, then again like some chorus and stuff, too formulaic. And then Metallica kind of has this like classical music. No, I mean it's early Metallica, not now. Kind of like classical music for the piano, kind of. So it's fast, slow, quiet, loud, and you have this like transitions. So it's like specifically designed to make like a quiet part really sound quiet, because previously it was very loud, right? And then you make this loud after quiet, so loud really feels like it's really loud, because before it was like toned down. Everything was like in the Master of Puppets song, right? It's like dun 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 dun, and then dun 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 start growing, kind of like it's so great. Just best music in the universe. That's, I guess, like how classic music was sound in their time. It was sound like heavy metal. Now it sounds like classic music. It's like, no, before there was like, all right, so dope. It's insane. There was like headbanging there. It's like, whoa, it's so wild. No, of course not, but kind of inside. Inside that was like super exciting for people. Так. No, we kind of this. Put something on the ground. Так. Okay, so here we have like how they call this? I forget. Oh, armor vehicle, right? And here also, like, I want to make this example, like maybe like for young artist or beginner artist. So here is like this screenshot from a movie, right? And I don't know exactly what's this. Right now, you can find everything, right? So I put this screenshot in Google image search. No, and Google image search finds that this vehicle, it's made in America, Oshkosh M-ATV2. Okay, and you can find like many angles, you can find video, you can find like a review on YouTube, like some guys like say, I just bought this Oshkosh for my house, you know. Because in America some people buy this kind of stuff. I don't know, like, can you buy exactly this one, but there's a lot of armored vehicles you can buy for kind of zombie apocalypses. So, and can find even this one, right? So instead of having just one, this like kind of like I cannot see any detail here. Now I Google and find some more extra material, kind of speaking for how to find references, right? I don't need to remember how to draw every armor vehicle in the world. It's too much. It's too much armor vehicles to remember, right? But when I need for particular project, for particular work, just Google, you can find like very specific one. So maybe like if you want it to be like made in America or made in Europe somewhere, you can Google with a very specific somebody was subscribed. Nice. Так. Let's hit this ruler. Okay, so and this we can make as like can make a like 5-point perspective. And why 5-point perspective? Because it feels like more like action dynamic scene. So let me show you. If I make it like 1 or 2 point perspective, так, it will be more kind of like more static. So let's see. Kind of like this, right? But if we make 5 point fisheye, so for 5 point, I remind again, it's like this. So we have z axis is just the it's kind of like miss every line. So z axis is just straight lines conversion to center. Then we have y axis curved like this, and x axis curved like this. So here, this actually we can see some curvature for y and x. Так. So, let's see. Okay. And we can even a little more exaggerate this. So with this fish eye, it became more dynamic. It started to feel really like intense and popping out. Kind of is like it's like jumping out from a paper. You see? Just kind of like subconsciously. This is how it works. Так, yeah, let's make some. Так. And again, like kind of when I draw, I think like, okay, I pretend like it's where's my pencil? Pretend it's like, oh, I want to draw frame for my comic book, and there is cars moving. It's like 2 armored vehicle in my comic book, and right now I kind of drawing it from imagination. And then I say like, okay, I draw this kind of views before, so I can actually like make it a little more extreme. Let's like tilt horizon line. So this Z vanishing point, horizon line, y-axis, and y-axis start to curve. Z-axis. Go like this. Так. So we have this road. Like this. Second of this. So how does it draw this twirl? Okay, so it have like front like this. Okay, what's this? Okay, so kind of this. Oh, so they have mirrors. Also here, it's kind of look cool. And this look cool. Front glass. Так. And the second one. So let's make some city skyline. Here I don't need to follow like everything from reference. Here I can draw some 7-Elevens. Take, and here kind of some buildings. Then some kind of speed lines. And drawing this track, we need special music. But first, 5-second break. 5-second break.
Madness. This is Jane Bond art.
Yes, some music.
Running this game on a roll, monopolize. I'll take it all, rule the world, watch me stand tall. Flexing cash, rocking suits and ties. Living large, I reach for the skies. I'm the revenge. The one on top,
Hello.
greed and ambition. They just
Culture,
can't
some
stop.
art.
Cut the competition, crush them down, dictate the rules.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Exploit the workers.
Finishing my book.
Try no empathy, just profits. Oh my.
Так. How are you? Так. Yeah, this thing's so cool. flutter it. Так. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Yeah, I was speaking about most kind of efficient and beneficial practice to make perspective breakdowns, perspective and composition, and they're kind of like always intertwined. Because perspective is actually also essentially perspective is a composition tool. Because like let's say when you plan your picture, you make decision to create this like illusion of space, certain level of realism, and to deliver kind of this you apply this perspective techniques, and all this like perspective grids, it's in the category of composition model, modular composition, when you making this abstract grids to organize space in your picture. Perspective grid is a part of these composition tools. So when you break down your favorite artwork or visual work, you learn, and this you building vocabulary which you personally want to have, because you don't learn it from listening somebody or from like walking on a mountain, watching like waterfalls or something. No, you learn it from observing other works, artworks of other people, and instead of just watching them, you better to draw them, and instead of mindlessly draw, you make this kind of inside out drawing, like analysis, which is deconstruction and reconstruction, right? So you kind of like break it into elements, and then you use these elements to recreate same picture. This is how you learn. So very, very simple and absolutely like beneficial, like most beneficial type of practice. So all you need is just decide for yourself what type of work is your goal, and choose examples of this work, and reverse engineer these works. So like for me, it's like some comic books like Ghost in the Shell, Akira, um, some other artists, like all these videos I did on this channel from my favorite artists breakdowns. And also it's kind of just movies, movies, they also have this um let's say, like visual language, similar to comic books. It's kind of like very, very close. Not exactly same, but very similar. Actually, it's kind of moving here. Because then when you will draw from imagination, when you just want to draw your vision, this when you will have when you be in like creative state and in a flow state and whatever, and you feel bursting with ideas and you don't have time kind of to draw from references, because you already have it, you already see this picture, right? When you will have this and on a higher quality, like when you really have like very cinematic compositions, very interesting camera angles in your imagination, you will have it in the result of such observations. You learn from observing other works. That's it. Because visual language, like this visual narration, is made up, is not exist by itself. It's made by people. So you should learn from other people. Learn from people who um, kind of implement it in the best way. And of course, like perfect if you can learn from them directly, like if your work, I don't know, in a Ghibli for Miyazaki, so you see kind of himself at work and receiving feedback. No, yeah, it's kind of perfect. Or when you work with some genius movie director, right? But if you don't have this opportunity, you still can learn from them by breaking down their work for free, I mean, you just buy a movie and do your own practice for free. Yeah, what's this? And for your brain, you really became like them in a kind of while you're doing it. Like, like, sometimes really like, maybe not sometimes, like mostly all this creative stuff is like a children game, you're more like imagining and pretending instead of take it like too seriously. It's like when you learn, you can pretend like you're already the guy who you want to be. You can pretend like to play for some short time to be like a master you want to be, or a master who you learn from. You imagine like you actually him. You're not learn from him, you are him for this kind of couple minutes when you kind of going through his work. And then when you draw your own stuff, you also pretend. You kind of like you're pretend like it was like you are actually kind of like pretend like this stuff actually happen. It's like what you draw is not just a drawing, but is a actual event. Is really happen. It really exists. It's just by some like misconception it perceived like a drawing on a paper, but actually it's a real world, So it's like always kind of part of creative process. It's to have this like children ability to pretend and playing out certain. Like I don't know have you or not, but we all played like adult family life in the childhood. Usually like girls was initiators. I say like, hey, like I will be wife, you will be husband, there will be our children. We just like giving roles to each other and then like play like daily life. It's like husband come back from work like tired, like oh, and wife like running around like cooking something, children doing homework. It's kind of, I don't know, like right now children doing this or not. I afraid not, because now have internet. But it's like really, really interesting, right? Like right now, like when we are adult, when we are grow up, like it's like who the hell will try to play a grown-up people? Like you really want to play having job and like tired after work and stuff, like really? But this is kind of like how they rehearsal who they will be, right? Like this rehearsal of their own upbringing, kind of like how they will behave. They're trying this tropes again. They're trying this like patterns. So they look around, they see like what their parents do. It's also like, because kind of like my mother, she was kindergarten director, and they had this like games when they create this like role play with children to play family life, and immediately you can see what kind of environment children living in, because they will show how adults behave in their life. right? Like how fathers speak with their mother, how like there any kind of like, no, first of all it's father and mother, but you know, basically any adult people who is present in their life, they kind of given them these like behavioral patterns, which they start to reenact, right? Say like, okay, now I am like them. So it's kind of like a natural, it's our kind of natural instinct, kind of playing, pretending, kind of, and emulating, kind of, right? So learn to use it for your benefit. It's like it's a smart approach instead of kind of like treat yourself just like a robot, right? Treat yourself like sometimes like you know yourself, you know like your weak spots, and you know how to manipulate yourself, right? So okay, let's like play, make it fun for me. I need to find a way how to make it work for me, how to kind of like create this like best play which will be most beneficial for me. So instead of kind of like reenact some um, slackers and alcoholics around you in real life, try to reenact like your favorite artist. Try to reenact your favorite movie director or your writer. You know, this like this guy Hunter Thompson, like just kind of very good example. He say like when he was learned to write, he was rewrite whole book of no Great Gatsby book. He was like I read tape, right? Like kind of because in his job, like writers in job, he using typewriter, so he was like entirely type whole book of Great Gatsby just to imagine himself at least uh, to some part, to some degree, imagine how it feels to be Fitzgerald, right? To write Great Gatsby. So like make a book going through him. You know, so it's like pretend to be your favorite artist. Hello, Ghost Paul Murphy. Так, так. Yeah, definitely this car. Yeah, if I'm a billionaire, I definitely will buy this car for myself. Okay, go to fishing stuff. Так, hello, Chris. Thank you. Because there also is what is interesting, this saying is like nothing new under the sun. One of this, like one aspect of it, like what it actually means, right? If you take this like nothing new under the sun, and you take this like who's this guy? Hamlet, yeah, Hamlet, about like life is theater kind of concept, put it together and say, okay, so every roles was already played. So like every roles already been performed. Every characters already been like revealed and like doing their cycle, all stuff, right? And nothing new under sun. It's mean you cannot literally you cannot make any new trope. Just think about this. It's absolutely mind blowing. You cannot invent anything new in a kind of like new character, new like character path, right? Like what happened with the character, right? And I speaking not just like fictional characters and roles, anyone. So we all play in certain roles. No matter like you're conscious of it or not, you're in a certain role. You always some kind of represent certain archetype. Like right now, maybe it's changed from day to day, but it's always certain archetype. And it's like kind of when you think about it, and actually you think about like it cannot appear anything new, and all you can do is just be conscious about this, or you can try. Sometimes it works, and you can like consciously take a certain role on yourself. You can consciously choose to play certain role. Like for example, I don't know, like easy example, like go into army kind of, right? So you immediately like create yourself certain archetypical character, because there is became immediately like certain like tropes. What kind of life as a kind of man in service, kind of what kind of life you can live, or how kind of life can end for you. So it's kind of very interesting. So, and same like kind of when you study art, same. Instead of like just blindly like drifting towards somewhere, try to go from other end. Say like, okay, let me try to play how it feels to be where I want to be right now, to be this artist who I want to become. Yeah, some morning philosophy. Yeah, thank you for kind words. Oh, this is so cool. Yeah, now I want to buy a plastic model of this armor vehicle. Need to check out. Okay, I have funny song. Can also listen for a truck drawing.
Рептилоиды придут, будет мир и тишина. Каждый знал и каждый ждал, ведь настал их день сполна. Рептилоиды, приди, порядок наведи. Рептилоиды, приди, порядок наведи. Тени скрылись за углом, свет прольется на народ. Мир и порядок здесь сейчас, рептилоидов не предать. Рептилоиды, приди, порядок наведи. Рептилоиды, приди, порядок наведи.
Так. Also, one more song. Так, and one more track here.
Maiden for war is kind, because your lover threw wild hands toward the sky, and the affrighted steed ran on alone. Do not weep, war is kind. Horse, booming drums of the regiment, little souls who thirst for fight. These men were born to drill and die. The unexplained glory flies above them. Great is the battle god, great and his kingdom, a field where 1,000 corpses lie. Do not weep, babe, for war is kind, because your father tumbled in the yellow trenches, raged at his breast, gulped and died. Do not weep, war is kind. Swift, blazing flag of the regiment, eagle with crest of red and gold. These men were born to drill and die. Point for them the virtue of slaughter. Make plain to them the excellence of killing, and a field where 1,000 corpses lie. Mother, whose heart hung humble as a button on the bright splendid shroud of your son, do not weep, war is kind.
Так, with some cloud there. Anyway. Так. Так. Also remind about Discord. So check out. Oh yeah. Anyway, it's also I forget about left hand now because I draw a lot of technical drawings for a book. So, but when I will draw comic book, definitely will use more left hand. Yeah, thank you for reminder. Так. Anyway, so some very basic shading. Maybe I should do more like shading studies, more focus on like atmosphere, because still kind of like my blind spot. I'm more like drawing details and objects. Should practice more atmospheric drawing. So it's really like when I was my first year of drawing with left hand, it's crazy, you know, you really like can some kind of like how they show when airplane crossing this sound barrier, right? I have this like like you can see air. So same when you like switch from right to left hand is like it's like whole reality shifts a little kind of. So at first I was really I was like, feel this. It's kind of almost like proportions, everything like little shifts, little change. So, and I was like messaging some neurobiologist or this kind of guys who study brain, but they don't know much about this. They don't have data about this. There should be some specific experts who work with stuff about dominant hands. Maybe they will like take me as a, I mean, it's definitely interesting material to study. So I can be this like subject for research. Так, все here. You know, like a Wolverine. One day we'll just like wake up somewhere underground base with all like pipes underwater. It's like, oh my god, why I tell this on my stream? I want to be like laboratory mouse. Так, anyway, so one more picture. So this one. So another example, right? Like it's kind of, yeah, it's a very simple perspective, you might say. It's like, where's perspective? It's just some kind of like static zero foreshortening. But anyway, you just you can also kind of like practice some of these pictures, like put them also in your toolbox. So this kind of shot you have when you use long lens camera, right? So it's like camera standing far away from these characters, and it's like using optical zoom to kind of make them larger in the frame. So that's why we see is like super like flat kind of proportions, right? They don't have any foreshortening, and it's very much like kind of like rely on abstract composition. Here's like minimal 2-point. You mean here? Oh, no. No, it's like a 1-point perspective, but it's so, because it's, take 1 second. Because it's zoom, because it's long lens shot, convergence is like minimal. So it's almost like, you know, if we draw like zero perspective, it's like if you just 1 second, where's drawing? Okay. You kind of like a drawing like flat silhouettes of the characters. Right, so you don't need to, like when we have like fisheye perspective, right? Then it makes sense to think about characters as the boxes, and I will show it later, like when you kind of drawing fingers like a boxes, right? Stuff like this. Or say like a body kind of like this, right? But so this like fish eye, like a wide lens, wide. So it's like volume here is very important. This kind of like form of like box logic, and wide angle, wide lens, long. Yes, kind of a long, I think it's called. So it's very much 2D flat. So, and you see here it became very much about abstract composition, like this, like some patterns. It's kind of like if you're, again, it's like you're writing symphony. You're making this like non-verbal kind of pulsation or like vibration, melody. Okay, like this space. And this kind of whoop, whoop, whoop. And yes, there is like, can be like vanishing point, like here at him, but it doesn't, it's not kind of like central element here. So it's dominantly two-dimensional. So let's see if we take it out, right? You see, just 2D abstraction. So, same also like long lens. And here is more like kind of like more wide angle, but not extreme wide angle. Is not fish eye. It's like 3-point perspective grid. Okay, so let's see. So we can like, I was talking about this in some video. Maybe it calls like everything about perspective, something like this. So if we'd say like kind of gradation of perspective intensity, kind of, right? So it will be like isometry will be like most quiet perspective. So it's like a long shot, like zoom kind of view. Isometry. Then will be this kind of linear perspective, right? When we have like 1 point, 2-point perspective grid. So let's say isometry, a linear with the vanishing point, right? So now we start to have vanishing point. 1, 2, 3. Even 4. Yeah, it can be even 4. Is like when is a 2-3-point perspective together on one picture. So it's like 4 point. It's like you make horizon line, and you make is like conversion up like this and conversion down. So it's like you have two 3-point perspective grids on one picture. I learned it from before. I never think about this, but then I watch. I took workshop from Ryan Berry, Nine Monkey, and he was talking about this perspective grid. I was like, "Whoa, never think about this," because I always draw this kind of perspective with curved lines, but you can draw it with the straight lines also. Crazy, right? So it will be also y-axis going this way. So so we have isometry, linear perspective, and then a curvilinear perspective. Curve, blah blah blah, you know. So, and it's like most common default is like 5-point perspective. So like with this armored vehicle, I was using this curvilinear perspective like for more dynamic. So it means camera was like really close, maybe even attached to car kind of. But here we have 3-point perspective. It's kind of moderate intensity. Kind of right. So we have this y-axis. We have, like maybe I use other colors because interesting here. And it's again, it's uses like a little, not trivial 3-point perspective. That's why again it's important to break down actual works, actual images. So then we have Z, right? Z-axis. Go like this. So it means Z vanishing point somewhere here. Okay. And we have X. So why is 3 points here? Because X is not parallel. It's also kind of convergent towards vanishing point. Okay. Let's see here. Let's make this. So, and again, you see, like I can think, like start pretending like I'm making my own picture, and I kind of like imagine, like if I draw this from scratch, right? And I think like, okay, I want to draw a scene in a hospital. So there is like camera will looking up, and kind of there will be like woman lying on a bed, like injured, and then it's like this man kind of he's standing above, kind of like like little intimidating. It's like he's kind of like this also visual trope. He been looking like a death, right? This like black silhouette and the hands, just like kind of like Gustav Klimt. Gustav, yeah, I think it's Gustav, like a Klimt kind of composition here. So, and I say, okay, so she is here, and dude will be like here. Just think about clarity of composition, right? I want them place somewhere, and he is also, he's not alone. He has some kind of somebody standing, like cover his back, right? So, and I say like, okay, when we're looking upshot, it's kind of very simple, also kind of a principle, like trope is like, if you have this like shot, for example, you see like a body shot, right, from below up. So then you will see corner of a ceiling. So it's kind of like quick, easy way to show up shot, right? If I show down shot, then I will draw like corner of a floor, right? So let's say same, it's like a guy here, and let's say like this, right? So now it's kind of like a floor. So, and here we have this situation, right? So I say like, okay, small room, not so big, so we will have like ceiling about here, and I want to show is like this far wall and the door, and there is a guy standing behind this door. So like I say, playing this pretend game, pretends like I building it myself. So, and then I say, okay, so here is a woman, right? I draw her like profile. But how I show she is injured, how I show she's lying in the bed in the hospital, right? So I need some hospital equipment, I need some details to show she is traumatized, kind of, right? So okay, so I draw her, have this stuff on her neck, she's like on a pillow here, some like forget patch kind of on the face, and there's some hospital equipment will be here, some screen, it's kind of okay. Now it's more look like really she's a patient in the hospital, right? And here's this dude. So once I have this kind of idea, I can now help it with perspective grid. So, and I say, okay, so I want it to be like, because I can make it a little more static if I make less conversion, right? Like if I make it also call objective and subjective view. Objective, it will be like more like a distant neutral view, like let's say like this, if y-axis parallel, right? So we have like, let's say y-axis parallel, here we have the vanishing point, So here is dude. Here is lady. So it's kind of like more natural. Так. Or here is like, it's maybe even tilted. Yeah, it's even like little tilted horizon line. So it's even make more intimidating. It's like feels like he's kind of like avalanche kind of, right? It's like a little like this, like rock moving to this character. So let's say like this. So it's just more intense. So by making like more convergence, more dynamic perspective, we will make a scene more intense. And kind of like this intensity happen also because stronger convergence, stronger perspective feels like we're being like more inside of this scene, kind of subconsciously, you know. It's like fish eye. It mean it's like I'm very close to this stuff, like this car, right? So here we're far away, and here's like we're very close. It's kind of like almost kind of touching us. Так. So let's see. So this will be our z axis. Then we have again like teach about perspective grids. You make one x axis line here and second here, let's say. So now you establish x axis already because rest of lines you just find by subdividing. And what else we have? The y axis. Так, say like this. Okay. Так. Yeah, and don't be lazy. Make it like somehow finish look, right? Maybe it's like not super glance, but kind of decent finish look for this study. Don't make them like half done. Don't make just like, whoa, 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 okay. No, it's like, why you treat it like this? Why you treat it like it's some kind of mundane task? Is like, I need to do this homework kind of. No, it should be entertaining for you. Because you see, like what we do, it's what we train. It's also like how we do it, how we treating it. It's also important. Kind of develop proper attitude. You need to, if you don't have it right now, you can actually develop it. You know, it's like joy of reading books. If you're not this person who read a lot, kind of, or not even like don't read at all, you can develop habit of reading, and eventually, pretty fast, you will feel how fun is to read. You know, you will understand this. You will understand why it's fun. So if you have kind of plan to read many books, like, you know, especially if you're a creator, right, you need to read many books, some, again, like important works of other writers, some theory books, study books. So, and it's possible only when kind of you somehow enjoy it, right? Because if everything you do feels like just like a duty and obligatory kind of, then it's like subconsciously you will constantly sabotage yourself. And if it's kind of normal also, like I say, have in the beginning this stage when you kind of fighting with your own sabotage whole time, but better for you to learn how to have less of this problem. Like imagine again, it's like people to have joy in their life. They go to cinema, they play computer games, they have all this kind of superficial, or like, I don't know, like normal people kind of way to entertain or bring some happiness to their life, right? But for you as artist, ultimately, this also should be your goal. Not only skill, but also this state from which you create, right? It's to make it for yourself, to feel like a best game in the world. So it's like when there's some kind of GTA 6 release, you're not really interested. You know, it's like, because you know, yeah, it might be fun, but it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like, might be fun do something else too, but I enjoy more to draw, you know. It's just like it's really like blow my mind. I like feel like this He-Man kind of like like a Highlander. It's like there is must be only one. And I notice like it's really like often I have this kind of feeling like when I like look at my favorite computer game and it's like kind of really like why I think it's interesting before. It's kind of like so kind of primitive compared to this, to real world. It's like you need to pretend you like it. So, and then actually like there's two reason why people like it, why people like this kind of I don't know, like not creative entertainment, right? No, especially computer game because it's some kind of escapist too, right? So one is like when they lack this kind of like hormone of success. So you want to be like this like super guy, or you want to be like achiever or like landlord, emperor, superman, superhero kind of stuff, right? Needs this kind of feeling of completion, feeling of achievement. And other reason, some people like it's kind of have everything. They don't need any proof or any feel like to feel like good about themselves, but they just bored, or there's like nothing to do. Let's find something unusual. And whatever reason might be, artist, he kind of like above it all, like crazy far, kind of, it's like not even in comparison. Okay, this guy looks funny. Because what artists can experience like in a casual kind of like regular way, it's what people, I don't know, like kind of trying to constantly trying to have in their life, this kind of like feeling of like fulfillment, sense, like meaning of existence, you know. Just feeling like when everything makes sense and there is no empty, like no empty gaps, like everything now is like full, like you feeling like really like you're being living like full life entirely. But yeah, okay, yeah, maybe other activity also can do this, but I'm just speaking, I propagating artist lifestyle. Yeah, like I hear about this like Formula One pilot who says like best like experience in his life is when he going through turn on on this kind of, how they call it, track, right? So on a track you have this like need to make this hard turn, or how they call it, And so he is a pilot. He needs to figure out this like kind of border stage when is like maximum limit of his exact vehicle right now abilities, right? So it's like being on the edge when if it's just a little more and vehicle will collapse, you know, it will like just kind of crumble, broke, explode, whatever. Then also need to manage how to like apply this proper inertia, all the stuff, physics, right? So like proper speed, proper like um, degree, kind of, and also kind of his own edge, edge of his own like physical and then like nerve system kind of abilities, right? So this moment when he like doing like absolute best and when he is like mistake like can be um like incredibly like tiny error can and everything just collapse immediately, you know. So in this moment he says like feel the best all every time it's the best time in his life because it's kind of like he feel alive, kind of everything like so concentrated and focus kind of in this moment, you know. And that's how it should feel, right? Like you're freaking create universe, you drawing some crazy stuff. You're not just some consumer. You are like you're kind of a guy who's there before everybody else. You go there first to this place, and then you tell to everybody else, say like, "Do you know where I've been? Do you know what I seen?" No. I say, "No way." I say, "Yeah, well, look, here's the proof," and you show them your mind-blowing artwork, kind of. So it was a long speech to convince to kind of have fun even when you draw some studies, right? Here, так. And the finish them, make them more look like finish picture, not just like some marks here and there. Karl Marx. Oh, так. Because also, like, say, why it's also important to enjoy, and like not just enjoy, but be like really like impressed, mind blown by your work when you draw, right? It's like, what is, like, you draw, and it's like, no way. It's like, did I draw this? It's crazy. Because when you have this, then your work have power. So then it's really have something. If you not mind blown yourself by your work, then how can you expect somebody will impress, right? So it's really like always start with you. So also, like, I like there is a different definition of what is kind of meaning of artwork, right? So like, say, people talking about meaning, like what author try to say with his work and blah blah blah. And I like this idea somebody say is meaning, like most important kind of actual core meaning of any artwork. First of all, it's kind of like from kind of just what our artists were trying to do. Okay, so if you were trying, kind of like, what was your intention, just intention, not talking about like your verbal idea of your artwork, but what was your intention behind making this artwork. This will be actual meaning, because this will be like real impact standing behind your work. So if you're like want to make some kind of trendy picture, it will like feel like trendy picture. It might be like successful, it might be this kind of like how to say, like greatly performed, like made trendy picture, some kind of like, I don't know, like a famous anime character or some kind of like famous pose or whatever, just all this stuff is just like, it might be very cool, but somehow I don't know, it just feels like I don't know, like more like craft exercise, some kind of like a virtuoso show of virtuoso, when it's like, look, I can do this kind of fantastic thing, like performing my skills. Yeah, it can be like some artists doing like want to show how good and great artists they are. Also, like, and people, what you can see like how people like react, right? So they say like, oh, so many details. It's like, oh, so realistic. Oh, it's like photograph. So they kind of subconsciously they catch exactly like what was intention of an artist. And then if your intention was like, I don't know, like kind of breach something, like get to the edge, blow mind, kind of, and then some your work they really achieve it. And some your work like look like, I don't know what happened here, how it works, but it's really have this element kind of just bring you this kind of shook you kind of, right? And then you hear like everybody talking this, like at least we can say there is some audience who get this, right? And they say like, no, and I hear this couple times about my work as like, I don't know what exactly happened with your work, I don't know like what exactly you did, but there is something very, very special about this work, which I cannot explain, but I can feel, So if you have this intention, and if you're like really trying to put yourself there, so you really treat it as like as some wonderful, really important stuff, you're working with, not just work or not just performance for somebody like look, I am drawing, look, I'm a good artist, but it's some kind of like maybe let's see, так, how many I have pictures here? Okay. Так, so here, this one cool, kind of like have many overlapping. It's like almost like anime shot, anime perspective. Так. And then yeah, also like you can see like some artists, like in their work, you can see this kind of like tenderness, like even like crazy like dynamic, like testosterone kind of aggressive work and stuff, but you can see with how much like respect and care artist treat his work. This is like kind of like this um, love to details, love to process. You can feel it. It's amazing, you know. So you this intention you cannot hide. You cannot pretend about what is like from which state you create picture, right? So, and then no matter what kind of story you want to tell, no matter what kind of situation you want to show, this kind of level of meaning always will be like kind of visible through all your work. Так, so here let's see. This like I was show in the previous video. It's like we have this like intuitive perspective boxes. So let's say if his shoe is like box like this, then we have a leg in the box, and then this part of a leg, and then this leg, так. Am I online? Yeah, okay. So what we have for drawing this kind of picture, here we can use perspective grid, especially if we want to draw some background. And in this pose is actually kind of symmetrical. So let's show it here. Because like his shoulder on one line, his even pelvis like almost don't move, and the arm here, so we can use this x-axis, kind of, let's say, x-axis going like this. So if you find this kind of symmetry of a body, then why not we can like attach it to perspective grid. So here this like shoulder line, pelvis line can be synchronized with the x-axis. Then I look, say, okay, maybe like, yeah, kind of like right at his head, this can be y vanishing point. Like at his face. So let's check. So so again, using reference as a start, then I kind of build upon it a little more. So now we have y-axis. So, and it became like 1 point perspective, but vertical. So if usual 1 point perspective, 1 point will be z. Here 1 point is y. So we have this y-axis, we have z or x-axis, and now perpendicular to x, z-axis. Okay, so like 1 point perspective, we have, let's say, tilted horizon line. Perpendicular to horizon line, we have this y-axis, right? So y-axis go like this, x-axis go like this, and here z vanishing point go like this. Only now instead of z, it's y vanishing point. So this y go like this. Here will be x, and perpendicular to x, because like z change place with y. So before z was vanishing point, now is y vanishing point, and z became like a y in 1 point perspective. Okay, so this is z, this x perpendicular, and this y. Так. So let's do x, z. Так. Yeah, maybe a little more tilted here. Z axis. And y vanishing point. Так. Now let's draw this like a boxes. Alright, so and also like what I was talking before, these boxes is like, imagine like you have like bricks or yeah, this kind of small bricks, and you put them in a sock, right? So these bricks, whatever direction they go, you kind of, so now they're kind of like inside this back. Okay, so we have this overall shape in which boxes are placed. So here we have like certain shape in which direction they go. So you can use it to establish composition kind of. Okay, so like this. So have grid, shape. Can draw this boxes. Yeah, also like a reminding, can I tell you every time, this is your gym, this is your training. So you learning to better, more kind of clearly understand forms, clearly, more clearly like understand space, perspective, all this stuff. It doesn't mean like you every time must follow this stuff, like you need to draw every time, you must draw boxes if you want to draw people. No, any of the step is like, any of the step is just a tool which you can take out from your toolbox and apply to your work when you want, right? Is you're not obliged to use it, right? And you can use them wrong. It's your kind of also creative process to choose which tool better to apply for particular specific task, right? Так. So here we have this. I like to show hand, so move little. Okay. Так. And maybe let's make also pattern. Yeah, also I say I want to draw some building, but not much space. Say here we can see some background. So, and here where we can use perspective grid to draw some stuff on background. Again, I use right hand. LOL. Так. So, and also like kind of what I was still in the other tutorials about figure drawing and like how to draw people in perspective. I have this video like everything It's called Everything About Drawing People in Perspective. So, and I say this type of figure drawing with boxes, intuitive perspective approach kind of, allow you to draw any kind of perspective grid. You can just test it out, try it yourself. Just like draw figure with the boxes like this, and for background, draw absolutely different perspective grid, like absolutely random. And it always will work. So it might have like some kind of surreal situation or whatever, but it always will work as some kind of Spider-Man composition. You know, because you imagine, like, for example, some scene from Spider-Man. So we have like maybe like down shot, fish eye, whatever, and there is street view, right? We see like rooftops, road, windows and stuff. And there, Spider-Man being just like, you know, just take bunch of stuff and just drop it randomly in the air, you know. Pose can be absolutely wild, absolutely random. And this pose is basically like a bunch of boxes. That's it. So this is how it works. So here it's just bunch of boxes thrown in the air, and here's perspective grid for environment. And instead of trying to find like any like super theory how all this should be unified into one perspective, actually just take it as a rule. It's like they don't need to depend on each other at all, can be totally independent. And you just like better spend some time practice drawing so it will look proper. That's it. Because no matter, you know, this kind of moment when you can learn theory like whole your life like crazy and still be not able to draw any decent picture, you know, because it's also kind of certain element you need to learn about how to make picture. And you, through practice, you kind of improving and became better with that. So that's why also, you know, it's like no matter what learning material, there is no exist theory or teaching material which will give everything artists need. It always will be gap which everyone need to feel themselves. Something like nobody can explain you, only you can figure out for yourself. So this is why important from beginning rely on your own practice and stop kind of like chasing, looking for some perfect best of the best tutorial or book or whatever. It's just kind of consumer mindset, not creator mindset. Creator, he can create from any state, from any level. You can be like super uneducated, but still you can draw, and you should drawing from beginning, drawing your ugly basic stuff and enjoy, because it's not like worse than other work. No, it's your best, and it's better than, it's kind of better than nothing. It's better than you've been drawing when you was like 1 year old, you know. It's always good in many ways. So you need to respect this. Like again, like I was talking about this artist who I looking up to, not just kind of follow, you know. And there you can see this just attitude, like when you respect and cherish this kind of creative process. It's like some kind of like um, how's it called? How's this word? I'm trying to remember words. Sacred, yeah, kind of sacred stuff, you know. So some people like who don't have anything sacred, in English, how they call it, who's like everything is boring, everything is nothing special, right? They cannot be artist. Artist is this kind of person who is like, at least something must be like really sacred and connected on a very deep level with him, and this will make him artist. This kind of this core from which you create, you know. So and we, yeah, this important. Blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. Talking. Whatever. Talking. Так, let's see. Which we want to draw here. It's kind of cool, like James Bond angles. So in same principle, right? Same principle, like we have boxes arranged like in an intuitive perspective, one by one with overlap, which like closer bigger, farther smaller. It's kind of very basic principle, which here key core concept is, first of all, is about rotation. Is like, for example, here his head, right? Like if we look in the head as a box, like front side, left and right side, top, bottom side, right? Like box as idea. Then we can say like, okay, his head can be turned this way. So what it show us? It show us that he like mostly like his head turn front side like facing you mostly, like I don't know, like 80%, let's say, and this right side like exposed about 20%, right? So by showing how sides of a box, of a form, how sides is exposed, we can read angle. So if it's just 100% front side, it's facing straight, facing at you, right? When it's like little, okay, we can say it's like little rotation. If there we see like more and more second surface, second side exposed, more rotation is happen. You see, right? And same, then we have like one more rotation. It's so it can be two simultaneous rotation. Is when is horizontally rotated and also vertically. Okay, so and here what we have like on this picture, like his head is rotated both horizontally and vertically. Okay, so we have this kind of angle. Okay, like so we see three surfaces like this. So we see some of the top surface and we see some of the right surface. Okay, so and when you draw like figures with this approach, with kind of like intuitive perspective boxes, this is the most important kind of aspect you should to control. This is what is about first of all, because just like size of the boxes like overlap, and it's kind of very easy thing. It's easiest part from this. And if you just don't have in mind this idea of rotation, you lose a very important component. Так, so now let's see. Let's choose which one looks cooler. Dun-dun-dun. Yeah, this kind of looks cool. Yeah, this looks cool, and we also have like environment. Yeah, this one looks so cool, like dynamic. We have ceiling. So here is tilted camera, like Dutch tilt, or upshot. Some dynamic conversion, so it's like making this like linear perspective intensity, and also like tilt looks very cool. Так, so let's see. So here, how I find how to draw this tilt, right? I find line. So let's say if we have 1 point perspective, horizon line, just parallel, just horizon, right? Y-axis, perpendicular, 90 degree to horizon line. So when we have like a 3 point perspective, let's say, so then it will be Y vanishing point. And then you see we have every other line at a certain angle, right? But there is always one line will be like still 90 degree to horizon line. Okay, so all lines, all y-axis will be like converging towards y vanishing point. And then it's kind of like when you see like this go into vanishing point, this go into vanishing point. So somewhere right in the between, right in the middle, will be this line, which also show point to y vanishing point. But according to horizon line, this line will be 90 degree. So in your picture, let's say you take random frame and you make a random tilt, let's say tilt like this horizon line, right? I recommend this sequence. It's like super convenient, make it easy. It's like when you start from this tilt of horizon line, kind of like a setup of horizon line and the y-axis. So once you have this, then you drop all other line. Also, same way works with curvilinear perspective, because if we have like 5 point, let's say, perspective, right? So y-axis, go like this. Same, you see, all y-axis curved, all of them curved. So this is our horizon line, right? But then one line in the center have 90 degree. It's one axis, one y-axis in the center will have 90 degrees. So when you draw like a curvilinear perspective based on a 5 point perspective grid with a tilt, right? Same, start with the horizon line and this perpendicular y-axis, because then without even drawing whole, without ability to have to draw these vanishing points, like I don't have space for vanishing points, right? Still I can kind of draw this curvature of y-axis around this cross, right? So we have this cross and then kind of draw. So you find this point is very convenient and also kind of crucial, right? And also, like, yeah, you can also, some cases, what if this outside? Okay, if this cross like outside, right, then you know, like every y-axis will facing toward one direction. Okay, it's kind of like very simple rule, but if you don't know this, it might be like a trouble. So same here. Same here, we have this character. So, and I say, where is the horizon line? Yeah, horizon line here actually kind of outside, but maybe, okay, let's maybe like shoulder level. So I'm making this, so this will be like horizon line, y-axis. And then it's kind of tapering, right? Now we have this conversion towards y vanishing point, and the horizon line x axis, and z axis. Так. So we have character. So now I put this shape of a character. So, and you see, like, definitely, of course, important, have different proportions for a frame. So now I kind of recompose them according to my frame. So it's more kind of square proportions here, which also just like teach me. I kind of learned this composition. I learned this perspective grid for this type of composition, but also because I have different frame, I practice. It's became more personal kind of work. So I need to recreate it. I need to remake it instead of just copying. So it's kind of like another kind of another reason for me to think it through instead of just copy visual proportions. Так, so let's see. kind of this. And again, like now I just think like why will I draw room? Again, I guess it will be much cooler if I draw like city view, right? So like let's turn it outdoors. Так. Так. It will be cool if make this super high sky scrapers. Так. Okay. So and let's make like a box. Так. Так. find some music. Так, second. Так. Maybe it's too short. Back longer here. Okay.
Рептилоиды придут, будет мир и тишина. Каждый знал и каждый ждал, ведь настал их день сполна. Рептилоиды приде, порядок на виде.
Как-то.
Рептилоиды приде, порядок на виде. Тени скрылись за углом, свет прольется на народ. Мир и порядок здесь сейчас, рептилоидов не предать. Рептилоиды приде, порядок на виде. Рептилоиды приде, порядок на виде.
Так. This kind of style reminds me Covenant. No, it's not. It's I have a opera singer and music band, kind of, you know. This is my hobby to make music myself in a garage, kind of. Так. Okay. Anyway, so some now is more cyberpunk kind of. Oh, I have one more. Так. Of course I.
From rough first sketch to clean, bold frame, every little move you say it name. I miss the shape you guide me through. One more try and it comes in blue. Hands up, don't let go. Show me the trick. I wanna know. Jane Bond Art, Jane Bond Art. The best art tutorials in the universe. Jane Bond Art, Jane Bond Art. The best art tutorials in the universe. When my lines shake, you keep them steady. When I feel stuck, you make me ready. I keep coming back for one more chance. You turn a scribble into a Jane Bond Art, Jane Bond Art. The best art tutorials in the universe.
I don't know how they.
Jane Bond
What's
The
this?
best art tutorials in the universe.
Yeah, I was just like recently go to 7-Eleven, buy some hot dog, and they look like, what a second, is that whole band Evanescence? I was like, how, what second, Evanescence, something like this? She say, yeah, and she was like, oh my god, Gene Bond? I say, yeah, you know my channel. She say, of course, I love your channel. I say, wow, and what you do? You still singing kind of songs? And she's kind of, yeah, kind of like, we want to start again, but don't know like what to sing about, like no much idea. So like, why you don't think about my YouTube channel? And Evan Sense kind of like, oh my god, can you like, do you allow us? Like, are you approve? I said, no problem, no problem. If I like song, my pleasure. Like, you can sing for me. So that's it. But yeah, that's like I tell you secret, right? It's just between us. Say don't tell. It's we do because we're not talk with the producer and stuff. So I pretend it's AI because it's not official. So it's some kind of it's even like collaboration. There's like even Sense, Tarja Turunen, some like bass from Metallica, and this guy like playing guitar from Ozzy Osbourne, kind of, just like a coincidence. Met them in the 7-Eleven yesterday. Yeah. And now have this wonderful song. Так. Yeah, every time I met like some like AC/DC, Metallica near my house, it feels wonderful. Feels nice each time. Yeah, good to live in Taiwan. You know, everything kind of close to reach. Так, okay. Anyway, so anyway, okay, so for today, yeah, I have like friend musician, and he's like always generate images in AI. So I think why not I make some music for myself. So okay, so here some breakdown from this new movie you can check out. Citizen Vigilante. Так, we can go away. So you can check it out. Some kind of like reminds me Mr. In Between. So you know, it's like how proper Punisher, Batman kind of should be if they make it based. So it's kind of like based Batman Punisher story. Check out this movie. Yeah. Так, so see you later. What? A second. What? No. What happened? Where's the ending? See you soon. Thank and the music.